All right, so this is a video that really gained a lot of attention, especially on Friday after we got done doing our live stream show. It came out like around the afternoon, 2 p.m. my time, and it had to deal with a Jill Stein supporter asking Dr. Jill Stein at a campaign event um, whether or not she would go on the Jimmy Dore show. Now, I've been very clear about my criticisms for third parties and independents, that they have to get their message out there. I've made it very clear of my past criticisms that third parties really need to stop being afraid of social media and go on various platforms to be challenged because, after all, we have done plenty of interviews as third party candidates, libertarians, Greens, independents, socialists, that they have the system working against them. The media censors and silences them and slanders them. And then you have the two-party system at the state level and the federal level putting a lot of roadblocks preventing third parties and independents from being on a debate stage or being on the ballot. Illinois, as I've said before in the past, is one of the most draconian states towards third parties, to where, in order for them to get on the ballot, they really have to get, at bare minimum, 20,000 to maybe 50,000 signatures because the system is really bad here in my state. If you're green, if you're libertarian, if you're independent, etc., whatever, and you're running as a third-party candidate, be it at the state level or federal level, you are going to have to make sure that you have enough money to also deal with any legal challenges because the state of Illinois prevents third parties from really getting their voices out there. And I've been very upset and critical towards third parties, especially the Greens, especially after the 2016 primary, in which they had lightning in the bottle and they threw it away. And the Greens right now are struggling. They have ballot access to 20 states. And the best way to get attention to your campaign is to go on numerous independent media platforms now, because that's where people go to get their news. Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Rumble, Rockfit, Odyssey, Kick. That's just how the world works. Now, again, what's very interesting to point out in this election cycle in 2024, third parties are getting a lot of attention, a lot of press attention. And we've seen many third-party candidates and independents on mainstream media as well, because let's face it, the Democratic primary was lackluster and mediocre. The Republican primary was already a one-sided foregone conclusion. Trump was going to win it no matter what. Same thing for Biden. He was going to win his primary respectively. But third parties have been getting a lot of attention. But they've also dropped the ball too. Now, in this video, it's about 2 minutes and 20 seconds. I will play it in its full entirety. You have a Jill Stein supporter asking Dr. Jill Stein, who is trying to get the Green Party nomination. The Greens will have their final nomination process, I believe, in July. But I think it's fair to assume that she has the nomination probably secure already, because she's been well known to run in 2012 and in 2016. She dismisses it, and her deputy campaign manager, through her own words, tells this supporter, turn off your camera, go away, please leave. So let's play this video in its entirety. I'm pretty sure a lot of you have seen it. And as far as I'm concerned, Jill Stein has been on the Jimmy Dore show in the past. So let's play this video, and you get to see it for your own account as well.
We do picture? Do you mind if we do picture together?
Yes, this young man has been waiting, so let's do it first, and then we'll do the next one. Do you want to get a selfie?
Well, I want to ask you about something.
All right.
So, first I want to thank you for being here today. I've voted for you in the past, and I love your platform, but I do have a couple of concerns I hope you can address. Some people are skeptical and discouraged by the quality of all of the candidates, and you have passion for what you believe in and are very articulate, but you seem, at least in my experience, seem reticent to engage with skeptics in a public forum, such as the Jimmy Dore show. This confuses me because it's an opportunity to be heard by people who might not know anything about it.
We just have a lot of press to handle at the time. So we're trying to work.
You have to make an appointment for press.
So are you okay? But
I'm sorry.
But is she willing to go on the Jimmy Dore show?
I'm sorry. You're going to have to leave her alone now.
Okay.
She's not. Yes, I do. Her deputy campaign manager.
Okay.
Can you turn off that camera, please?
Sure. So you heard it here. She's dodging the question, and a person is telling me to walk away. So, in other words, I guess my follow-up question was going to be, how do you choose which skeptics to engage with and which to ignore? Well, there you go. If you even mentioned Jimmy Dore, apparently you're a skeptic that needs to be ignored, and you're not worth her time, and she doesn't want to win you over. So, yeah, I'm gonna post this online, and I hope people try to talk some sense into her. But honestly, it seems like she's made up her mind, and it's very disappointing. At this point, I'm leaning towards. I love her platform, but I don't know if I really want to volunteer or help her get on the ballot, or I don't know. Might vote for her still, but I don't know.
Now, I don't want to pause because it's important to hear that whole video in its full context. I'll probably rewind back to the part where the deputy campaign manager told the supporter to turn off his camera. But let's face it, politics 101 is you want to get as many eyeballs on your campaign as possible, especially in this day and age of social media. And I know I keep on saying in this day and age of social media, but to be clear here, this is where we get our information from. And in order to show yourself as a strong and viable candidate, you need to show people that you're willing to be interviewed by anybody that could challenge you critically. I've had libertarians and Greens and socialists and Democrats on my show. I've had actors and actresses, other podcasters and YouTube content creators across the political spectrum on my show. 7 years doing this, 7 years. And the thing is, the Jimmy Dore show, he has also had many people on his show. And I think when you have a campaign and you're part of a well-known party like the Greens, and let's face it, the Greens are well-known, you're going to need as much help as possible. Now, is there a fear that Jimmy Dore will ask her some tough questions, or that there'll be a big back and forth like we saw with Dr. Cornel West or Marianne Williamson? Well, there's that possibility, but if you can't stand the heat, then get out of the kitchen, If you don't like it, then go. But that's how you get more attention to your campaign. You have to make your case to people and voters, because I've been noticing more and more people are burnt out by electoral politics. People want to vote for somebody else. But if you're not getting that attention, if you're not getting that additional boost of support or making your case, why does anyone want to volunteer for you? Which is, again, something that we have to also address. People are tired of being used. People are tired of having their time wasted. You have to go out there and convince people that you are a cause worth fighting for. I've made it clear on my show that I support third parties and independents. I've interviewed Greens and Libertarians. I've interviewed all third-party candidates. I've also talked about their cases and their situations in which they're being suppressed or silenced. I don't know who's running the Jill Stein campaign, but in this video, in this Twitter thread, there was a lot of back and forth with the Green Party and Jill Stein supporters and others who were who were really upset with how this video played out. And I could go over every single tweet that is in this thread, but we'd be here for hours on end. But I guess enough pressure might have happened to where this recently took place. So let's go ahead and pull up this video, this tweet right here. Now, this is from Jason Call, Green Party, Washington, Jill Stein, part of the Jill Stein campaign. But there is Dr. Jill Stein. And somebody wrote, Goose Feather, why is Stein hiding from Jimmy Dore? To which Jason Call says, okay, this is silly. Okay, fine. We'll go on Jimmy Dore. Fine. We'll do it. Jimmy Dore, send me an email to the Stein campaign. Your fans are relentless, and we have absolutely nothing to hide. Let's set this shite up, which, look, no need to be openly hostile. Jimmy Dore hasn't said anything controversial to you or anything else of that nature. I think it's just maybe some Jimmy Dore fans want to see Dr. Jill Stein on his show. And I think any additional boost to her campaign would be greatly needed, because the Greens did not successfully get on the New York state ballot. New York is just as draconian as Illinois when it comes down to third parties. Check out my previous conversations that I've had with Larry Sharp, for example. So it's rather disappointing that, during the weekend, we saw this back and forth from members of the Jill Stein campaign or Green Party affiliates kind of being hostile about this idea of not showing up on the Jimmy Dore show. But let's face it, he has millions of subscribers, a lot of viewers checking out his channel. That's potential supporters that could help you out with your campaign. And if you could take the questions from the Jimmy Dore show, so be it. And I know a lot of people I've been seeing in the live stream chat as well, bringing up the fact that early on during this election cycle, there was still a big question mark of who was going to run in the Green Party. Because originally at the time, Dr. Cornel West, who was with the People's Party, then switched over to the Green Party. And because of some internal affairs and other situations, and a person named first name Peter, last name Dow was in the factor, Cornel West left the Green Party and ran as an independent. Now, the reason why all these shenanigans were taking place is because, of course, Peter Dow was associated with Jill Stein and by proxy was giving advice also Dr. Cornel West as well, and was for a time his campaign manager. He was also campaign manager for Marianne Williamson. I think a lot of people are concerned about that and overall why the Greens have been rather sloppy. And I mean this is no disrespect, because I would say the same thing to the Libertarians too. If you are going to try and get voters or make your case, you have to show significant gains and the willingness to build a strong political movement. The Greens, since I've covered them, especially here in Illinois and to some extent in Indiana, have been mediocre and lackluster. And I say this as constructive criticism. You have to keep your movement and political movement together, organized, and keep on fighting even after the election cycle. You have to start building infrastructure and alliances and showing yourself to the community. And that means bring in people that can change and supercharge the party up. I mean, that's what you're supposed to do. I just want to play this video again one more time, where he is told to take the camera off and to move aside. So let's go ahead and play this video again one more time and play it.
So we're trying to work.
You have to make an appointment for process.
So are you okay?
I'm sorry.
But is she willing to go on the
I'm
Jimmy
sorry.
Dore show?
I'm sorry. You're gonna have to leave her alone now.
Okay.
She's not. Yes, I do. Her deputy campaign manager.
Okay.
Can you turn off that camera, please?
Sure. So
Turn off the camera, go away. That doesn't go well in this day and age, especially once you post something like this on social media. The deputy campaign manager should have been a little more careful with those words. But what can we take away from this? Well, at least as it stands right now from that one tweet, who knows how sincere Jason Call is. But, okay, you're going to reach out and tag Jimmy Dore and ask him to, get Jill Stein on the show. So be it. I think Jill Stein would be making a critical error for not trying to make her face seen on platforms like Jimmy Dore's show or others, because you have to go out there and tell voters why you are somebody worth fighting for. The time, energy, and money that is spent in helping out third parties requires a lot, because unlike the Democratic Party and Republican Party, Greens and Libertarians and Independents have to struggle every single minute of every single day just so that their campaigns still remain functional. Look at what Jose Vega and Diane Scher were able to do in New York State, and they are independents. They are not associated with any political party whatsoever. Now, they got a huge coalition supporting them, but they were able to pull it off. The Greens have been rather disappointing. And I say this because I have covered a lot of their events, and I say this to them that they have to keep on improving themselves. They have to keep on showing that they're willing to be in this fight. People are tired of having their time wasted, which is why there's so much disengagement, why people aren't really wanting to be involved in the political system, because they are disappointed in parties and false promises and people who said that they're going to fight and not fight at all. We'll see if Jill Stein actually shows up on the Jimmy Dore show. If it does happen, great. Good for her. I think it's a smart move, and it's a chance for her to make her case. I mean, you cannot be afraid of somebody challenging you critically. I've had all sorts of people on my show, and politicians, no matter where you stand politically, if you want to convince voters that you're somebody worth fighting for, then prove it. At the end of the day, well done for this video, but there are now many more questions I have about the Greens, and this goes for all third parties. You have to go into the lion's den and face off against people that might challenge you, that might make you uncomfortable, but that's the whole deal. In this day and age, you have to fight. You have to fight and make yourself viable to voters. If you're not going to fight, if you're not going to show us that you can handle a tough interview, why should anyone vote for you? This goes to anyone across the political spectrum. show strength, show courage, and you'll get support. You have to make your case. This is just how it is, because people are no longer gullible to believe that somebody's going to make things better. Make them want to fight for you and that you are actually somebody worth their time.